couple of weeks is we're going to do a session like this. I think this week, I think we're doing one the week after. Then we have a national holiday, which is Juice's birthday, and then the week after that, we do another one. So they're not going to be massively long. The idea is really just to show updates that we're doing, and also some new features. So this week we're showing a couple of things, really a little bit of a further development on the tendril feature, and we also have an amazing sort of new feature which we're going to show. I say I'm royal we. Juice is going to show, which I would really recommend. I mean, it's just fantastic. So it's start of something. I mean, it is alpha stroke beta software, so just bear in mind at any time something can go wrong. If it does, just laugh with us, not at us. And so that's basically the format of it. I think next week I would say whatever you do, don't miss. I think next week's one will be a goodie as well. We're going to be showing something that we've not announced next week. So this week we're just doing actually, I say that one of the things we're showing this week we haven't announced or talked about before. So actually you're getting one new feature this week and one existing feature that's been enhanced. So a couple of things. Obviously we're running the early bird upgrade, which is obviously cheaper. That will run out, I'm not sure exactly when, but relatively soon. So would recommend, if you want to get your upgrades at the cheaper rate, get them sooner rather than later. So that's that. Also just bear in mind the build we're running. I think both Juice and me are running a build that is the first build of 2024. I think we've had it for 2 days, and there's some bits in it which we haven't yet finished plugging in and working. So genuinely the odd thing might go wrong, but anyway, I think that's about it. I think the upgrade's going very, very well. We're adding loads and loads of new things, and obviously a lot of the things we've already talked about are all well underway to being either integrated or included. Now, if you're joining and you've got your camera on, if you could switch off your cameras, it just lowers the or increases the bandwidth and makes it that it's a little bit more stable for us when we're demoing. We're recording it. Obviously that will go online in the next day or two. And once again, just in case for anybody's just joined, don't miss next week's is all I'm going to say. It's going to be good. So this week's obviously also going to be great. There's I think we're starting off with Juice, and Juice is going to be showing off a new feature. So these sessions, by the way, won't be mega long. They're going to be sort of in between 30 minutes and an hour. You're welcome to ask questions as well. The idea is we don't take up a huge amount of your time, but we kind of keep you abreast of what we're doing and all the things we're updating. We've specifically designed today to try to shorten Elmar even more. So we'll be scaring him with whatever we possibly can as it goes on, getting him to commit to things he's never committed to before. Getting him to agree to new programming paradigms. Oh, he's gone. That's yeah. So my apologies to Elmar before we even start for anything I promise in the next 30 to 40 minutes. And yeah, and he's gone. And right, okay, so let's get started. Let's get this going. So if we start off with Juice, yeah, anyway, good, cool.
Okay, let me go ahead and start sharing screen. Do want to do just a straight call out. One of the things that we are working on that we're trying to keep in mind is, in addition to large features and large requests, we are touching base on quality of life improvements. And I just want to do a quick call out here to a rework of the preferences panel. Bringing everything together, there's an actual SDK for this. The commands are exposed to so that plugins can rework this and help it out. So it's, again, we're just trying to, you know, in and along with some of the other bits, we're trying to touch on, you know, quality upgrades as well. One of the things that I was going to show you, this is something new. This is something, it's actually come up a few times in discussions with various and sundry people. And that is with ProGeo, if we could do something along the lines of electricity or lightning or sparking or something along that. So let me just go ahead and jump in. I'm going to pop open ProGeo. And in order to pull this, I'm going to need a couple of nodes. What I'm going to do here is grab and add geometry, because we are adding geometry. And I'm just going to bring in the branch geometry. This is the new node that I'm wanting to talk about here. I'm going to plug its result straight into geometry and its result into procedural geometry. And now we're creating this. Now, straight away, what we've got is position. So position right now is set 1 on the Y. That's the length of it. If I were to grow that or shrink that here. The subdivide is how many. This is drawing 2-point polygons at this point. So we've got subdivides, we've got branching. Currently, I'm doing 2 branches and 1 branch count, 2 iterations with the angles. So if I were to increase the number of branches, if I added some randomness to the angles, if I rotated my angles around as well here. Very straightforward, very simple. So let's look at some of the inputs that we have actually into the node itself. As you can see, currently everything is fairly straight. So let's jump over here. I'm going to grab a crumple. So let's add a crumple, and from experimentation, I know right away that if I plug this in with a bump amplitude of 100%, it's going to go nuts. So I'm going to plug in the bump here into noise, and now we are adding some noise to our lightning. So what we've are now able to do is to look at some of the subdivide more clearly. So as I roll the subdivide lower or higher, you see I add in some crinkle to it. Now, let's talk about what's also being created at the same time with this branch. I'm going to pop open my backdrop and turn it to black, because we are going to be looking at something with surfacing. So what I want to do is I'm going to use my handy dandy node graph here and just jump into my principled. And let's increase our luminosity. Let's give it a little bit of color, something lightning-esque. And let's see. What I want to do is I want to come here over to my edges, and let's do our negative trick and turn on VPR. So now that we've got some thickness to this guy. Well, this is actually generating a UV map at the same time that it's generating itself. So if I jump into our nodes here for our lines, and let me pull up the vertex map for the UV and grab the branch geometry. The V is along its length, so let's drop that into taper. And so now we're tapering our lightning stroke as it goes along its length. Kind of fun, huh? And love how easy it is. Really love how easy this is. So let's look at some of those other inputs and see what we can have fun with there. So let's come back to the procedural. And we notice that we've got some positions here. Let's see what we can do. So this, actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me go back to my surface. Go back to the surface of the branch geometry. Let's have some fun with that other UV. All right, let's do something here. I've created a preset called Lightning UV. And so what I'm doing here is I'm using that UV map, again from the branch geometry, and a scalar, and I'm going to use a logic node.
What does the logic node do, my friend?
Well, the logic is it's based on the philosophy of the Vulcans, and so
yeah.
what we're doing here is using a scalar and comparing it to the UV map, and saying if less than, let's do something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over here into the clip map, and let's, because I've actually got that animated. So let's scrub forward. Oh, and I'll just need to take my UV map and invert the V. And so now I'm doing a lightning strike. nice and simple. Okay, let me turn off the VPR so we can come back into something a little quicker. Let's play with those other values. So I'm going to come back here in my procedural geometry, and for this I'm going to go ahead and turn off the branching. Let's go branch count 0. I've got position 1 and position 2. So I'm going to add a null. I'm going to say start. I'm going to add another null and call it end. I know I excel at naming things. So there's actually a book written on it. Item. I want item ID. I want item info. And let's grab the item info of the start and plug his position into position 1. Let's do a copy and paste and say end for position 2. And let's grab start and move him off to the side, and grab the other end and move him off to the side. So now, as you can see, I'm generating the lightning in between two nulls. Very, very simple. With the noise, let's go and animate its position, say, doesn't matter. So we can add some vibration into it. Again, I kind of visualize this as the little Jacob's ladder effect. We pull these in, bring these up, grab both of them. And pull the arc aside. And again, what we're still talking about is this is still alpha. We're still playing with this. We're still, coming up with, as things are described and decided upon, other features and other things will be added, put into. This isn't even currently necessarily in testing yet. So this is still coming even for that. This is that alpha.
Awesome.
But it was a fun thing. I do want to show you one that just bear with me. I'm going to load up a scene that was the culmination. This was the idea. This is where it kind of started. Not that one. And it was just a proof of concept. I want to say it was, no. Bear with me. Alpha. Anyway, it was a nightmarish node flow. I may even post it later. But it was absolutely amazing. And it was from that particular node flow that all the concept came about of how to create this branch. If I can pull it up, I might even post it into the chat. Andy, you want to take over?
Well, yeah. If I take over, I mean, see if you can get it up while I'm
sure.
While I do the update. We'll come back to
Absolutely.
it. Is that okay?
That'll work.
Okay. So let me see if I can share my screen. Have you got my view up?
Not yet. Hang on. I got it. Let me throw a quick share real quick. Okay, so here was the initial thought, right? This this lightning, right? So I just want to show you that yes, it was possible, and this is very easy to follow, I'm sure.
Oh dear.
So, I don't know. I think this is the way to go. We could do it this way and just not have the branch node. You know.
Yeah, do you know the simpler method is doesn't look as impressive. Let's be honest.
It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't.
That looks like something everybody could understand, I think.
This is when you put it in your resume when you want to sign up to be a TD, somewhere,
right,
or something like that,
Totally, right.
You'll keep that job forever because nobody's gonna understand what you did there.
Yeah, I think this should be a T-shirt. Right?
Yeah. Or just plain mad. That's that's good. That's good.
Yep. I just don't see it anymore. I just see blondes, brunettes, redheads. All right, I'll stop sharing here.
So does my sharing come up?
Yes, your sharing is up, Andy. You're good to go.
Okie dokie. All right. Okay. So we showed this. I'm not going to be doing the against. I think when we showed it last time, we put it on a well, and I will be doing some other stuff with other sets at some point. But that's not really the point of what this we're going to show you today is about. So there was a couple of things. When we were demoing it last time, we did it on the ball, great. And if you remember, as I drew it, it just drew instantaneously, and you had the plant grow, or not grow, be instantly sort of painted round the geometry. Same applies when we did the well. We painted round the well, and you could just place the plants on the geometry easily. So everybody knows that works, all good, okay? But there was a couple of things we thought about when we were doing the demo, and I think we mentioned it, or wouldn't it be nice perhaps if we could do this or if we could do that, and we talked about that possibility. So there were several things we thought about. One is, wouldn't it be nice if you could paint multiple plants, 1 or 2 plants, 3 or 4 plants at the same time, so that you could have them randomly on the spline. So you could have a flower, and maybe you could have a leaf, or a couple of different leaf types, or a couple of variation of leaf types with maybe a flower. So you could have an ivy leaf, and then maybe a slightly gnarled ivy leaf, and then maybe whatever. So so that was one of the things, and the other thing was obviously to work out if we could make it grow in time. And then of course you've got the problem, if you're going to grow it in time, you've got to actually make it get thicker over time, and numerous other things. So basically we went back, we literally, I have to say, chained Elmar to a table, whipped him, beat him, and gave him the wish list, and he went away, came back with John, and effectively delivered for us some of those things that we wanted. Now, again, this is only starting point, but I just want to sort of take you through some of the things we've done here. So pretty much the same as last time. We've got a group up here which really deals with mapping the geometry we're going to paint onto. We've then got the actual painting system here, and which is dealing with the main vine. And then we've got the plant system here, which is dealing with the what we're actually going to be pasting on. So a couple of things. I just want to show you this first of all. So if we want to add, so here we've got 2 plants. We've got a flower and we've got an ivy attached to the geometry. So basically, as it's drawing, it's going to draw a flower, and it's going to draw ivy. So here I've duplicated the ivy, and if I add that in, watch what happens to this evaluate geometry box. I drop that in, it opens up another space for another node. If I drop that in there, another one comes up. And likewise, if it's copy and paste that, Let's put another one down there, drag that in, and it just keeps on going. So it effectively means you now can add in as many plants and as many leaf types. So if you're want a really complex plant, you can sort of go in and edit those leaves and make them all slightly different, maybe have one partly eaten away by insects, and then you can choose what the variation of those are on your evaluate geometry node. And so you might use 2 or 3 normal ivy leaves, and then an eaten up ivy leaf, and then a brown ivy leaf, followed by another ivy leaf, and then maybe a flower, right? So you can then keep on mixing and matching those and placing them in this node here. So that's one of the things we've just added. We've also added in a time here capability. So with the vine, as it grows, we can actually have the time adjust the growth of that and the length of time it takes to grow. So we'll come back and have a look at that in a few minutes. And then what we've got over here, we've got then basically a sequence of time for controlling the leaf growing over time. So we've got the duration of the time it takes to grow, and we've got the offset of that time, which basically means it catches up with the end of the vine or doesn't catch up with the end of the vine, as you see fit. Okay, so that's basically what we've added to the node tree is a couple of new parts to that. Still a relatively simple node tree. Again, this will be saved as a preset that you'll better use as the base of what you're doing. We are thinking about trying to find a way. I don't know whether we'll get this done this time round. This is where I make Elmar nervous. We're thinking of trying to add in some kind of noise to have them the plants sort of gently move as they grow, and there's some other features we'll be aiming to add before we release it. We have a workaround that does that already, but it's not super neat. So we kind of want to see if we can resolve that. But that, again, early days. That's where we are currently. So let's show this working. So go to the vine. Let's click on here. We're going to painting on that object. So I'm just going to paint, same as last time. I'm going to take my time with this a little bit and just paint on the ivy node. Doesn't matter if you go over. I think you saw me do that a lot last time, is go over the same geometry. It doesn't matter. You can do that. So let's just let's add that in, keep this going. There's a reason why I want to have it grow for quite a period. I want to show you it obviously growing over time. So let's go back over here.
No drawing anything naughty, Andy.
No, no, not like last time. I think I drew. Yeah, let's just leave it. And yeah, right. Okay, so there's our plant. Okay, so let's take that back a second. So as opposed to last time where it just drew, you can see now there's nothing on there. But as I draw, you can see the plants starting to grow along the duration of the spline. Okay, and they're growing over time. Now, obviously, it's refreshing here, super smooth. Now, I've got to just say, Elmar has been working on bits of the interface, and certain bits here are now running significantly faster. So allow, in terms of rub through of complicated geometry scenes, it's really rubbing through smoothly. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that at your end, but you certainly, hopefully, can see how easily I'm just rubbing through that. And there's our plant growth, and then obviously everything's growing over time. Okay, now let's drag that back so we can see there's our spline down there. Let's have a mess with this. So first and foremost, actually, let's drag that out the way. So you can see here I can actually drag and change where that's growing, how fast this is growing. So I can have this grow super fast or super slow just by adjusting the vine speed. I've renamed this vine grow, vine grow speed, but basically it's on the multiplier, which is attached directly to the time. So that's controlling the time that then is controlling the spline growth. Okay, so basically as I draw, so let's just drag this back a bit. Actually, I'm going to extend that out a little bit more. So you can see I'm way ahead. Let's get that down here. So I'm going to don't want to go quite so fast. Let's do it a bit more. A bit more. Yeah, that'll be fine. So you can see here the plant's back here. There's the vine. Now, as that vine is growing, it's getting thicker. So it's going to take 5 seconds to grow to its maximum thickness, but it could be 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever you want it to be, 1 second, whatever you need it to be. So basically, over here, what I've got now is the duration of the offset of the plants growing on the vine. So if I drag that out, so you can see I can now drag that out to match the growth along the actual spline itself. So if I just quickly drag that, look, you can see if I drag that back, it's just behind where the actual vine is, and I can have that a lot further behind. I could have that sort of right up to the end, so it's starting to sprout the moment the vine grows, etc. Also the duration here, so let's just drag that to 1 second. So that's basically pretty much, everything grows in 1 second from when it comes out. And if I do 10 seconds, so you can see basically if I drag it on the timeline, it's still growing all the way along the whole line. So you can have that work over time, over a lot of time. I did 5 seconds here and basically ran it over that, which I thought would work fairly nicely. So yeah, so that's basically what we've added. It's the ability to add more leaves, more plants. We've added the ability to basically now animate that and grow things over time, fully adjustable, so the duration is adjustable and the offset is adjustable. And we've also added the ability to grow the vine, the central vine separately, so that you can have that ahead or running at the same pace, or even behind if you are so inclined. And it gives you the maximum flexibility with the plant, and in terms of making it grow over buildings or whatever. Bear in mind, obviously, we've done this with a vine, but it could be anything. I think I did it last time with a fairly horrific eye. Anyway, you get the idea of what that is. Let's just quickly show you that in action. Oh, by the way, just to if I put the VPR on, you can see that draws really fast. So if drag that back, there you can see them growing. I drag the timeline, you can see it's all updating in the VPR really quickly. There we go. And if I just shrink this over. Oh, I must be careful. So what I've got here is that animated. Let's run that full screen so you can see that animated. So that's rendered. And again, I think I've got the other setup running for LightWave. This was set up rendering for Octane, but it works either way. Very quick, very easy. You can see I'm drawing over itself. So hopefully you can see that's quite a big step on from where we had it when we showed the original a couple of weeks ago. And obviously, again, this is purely alpha stroke beta at the moment. So kind of just to give you a flavor of where we're taking it. Obviously, we aim to add more to that. Actually, while we're here, What I might do is just show you adding some more bits in. So let's just go back to the vine. And if I just quickly plug this in. Now this might crash, guys, so if it does, just bear with it. So you can see immediately that's adjusting the geometry. It will change the effect obviously over time. So obviously I might now need to rethink where I'm syncing everything, but that's now got a lot more leaves on it than the original plant. So just to show you that. So a lot more leaves, less flowers. Likewise, if I so let me just go back. Let's copy that flower a few times. And what we'll do is so we've got flower, ivy. So let's plug in that one into there instead. So let's what have I got there? We've got ivy leaf, ivy leaf. Let's unplug that one. Whoops. Which I haven't tried this. This will go. There we go. That's again more flowers, but you get the idea. Very flexible, very easy to adjust things on the fly and alter things on the fly. And again, immensely powerful capability in terms of adding variation in for your plants. And obviously the growing over time, it just makes it more fun to use. And it means you can obviously do things, time-lapse stuff. You could do whatever you want to do, or just effects of some wild plants growing over time on a film or whatever the case may be. Anyway, I hope you like that. Hope you like what Juice has seen. Let me just shrink that. Oh, mustn't show that. Oops, must close that. Hopefully none of you saw that.
And
yeah, whoops. So yeah, hopefully none of you saw that. So if you did, I could literally
a bottle of blood pressure medication.
yeah yeah yeah. Well, you drink more of it, drink more of that. So we're obviously that's I think that's it, guys. Do you have anything else you want to see? Is there anything else? Juice, did you manage? Did you show that? You showed that scene, didn't you? You showed that. Yep. So I think we're kind of there. I think Elmer, have you got any more you want to add that we've updated or we're getting close on? Actually, there was one thing which I don't know whether we're allowed to talk about, but it's live. We can. So you remember you were looking at something and it sped up the main interface a bit. Do you have any ballpark idea of what kind of speed increase that's giving to refresh? Are you on? You're on mute. No, that's.
But Andy, can you stop sharing your screen as well?
Oh yeah, sure.
Not always, but in some situations, the refresh, particularly scrubbing the timeline in layout, would slow down tremendously. People were complaining, oh, I'm having this animated character rig and it would be super slow to scrub through the timeline. And we looked in it and we found the reason, and it's something that actually would affect other parts of layout as well. But in this case, we had a speed increase by 15 times or more. So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. At least I'm excited about it. I don't know about you guys.
So bit nice. I've seen what it's doing, and obviously it's outstanding. So one of the things with which we're going to try to show something next week on. One of the things we've had a nightmare for most of LightWave's history has been doing multiple characters and those sort of things in a scene have been very, very difficult to do with LightWave. So with Genoma, one of the problems with it is pretty hefty. So if you have, 2 or 3 characters or 2 characters on screen, it can grind to a halt. So it can be really difficult to get complex animations done. So so what I'm hoping is, obviously, if you can join us next week, and we'll hopefully be showing you something which will improve that scenario. Obviously, I can't tell you what it is. We'll obviously talk about that next week. But it's a combination of what Elmer's done and something else that we've kind of refined, and that we're going to be hopefully showing in next week's sneak peek. The week after that, of course, it's all round to Juice's house for the national bank holiday. That is Juice's birthday, and I'm that's an open invite. No, it's so you're on mute. It's nearly always me on mute, but I've got to say thank you, Juice, for muting yourself.
Yeah, Miracle would kill me.
Yeah, and me, and so I think that's pretty much it. I suppose, are there any questions on what you've seen?
We've been hitting a few question and answers in the chat. I think everything's been going pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've hit the end, haven't we? Or have we?
Well,
a little early, but I suppose we had 2 very specific things to cover this week, didn't we? So we said between 30 minutes an hour, and we were 38 minutes, 39 minutes, 40 minutes. I don't know.
Exactly. So I'm going to stop the recording, but if there's any more questions, I can keep going. But thank you everyone for joining, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to stop the recording, but right, we're still here. But
yeah.